Alright, I'd like to welcome everybody to the first Algebra 1, Chapter 1 review guide of the school year. My name is Mr. Smith, and I'll be going through the Chapter 1 review guide for you to help you study for your Chapter 1 test. Here we go. First problem we're going to be solving. So m plus 7 is equal to 9. I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides, and I get m to equal 2. One step. Next, I'm going to add 12 to both sides. Negative 6 is equal to r. Again, inverse operation, so if you have a minus 12, you need to add 12 to both sides. Next one, negative 7 times c, so the inverse operation would be to divide by negative 7. Inverse operation in number 4, you're going to multiply both sides by 9. That will get rid of the fraction below. You get negative 27. Now, this one you can be doing a variety of different ways. I'm going to break this down into 2 steps. I'm going to first multiply by 7 to both sides. That will get rid of the fractions. You end up with just negative 6a. And then multiplying by 7, you get 126. And then you divide by negative 6. A would equal negative 21. Next one, anytime you see a minus and a minus sign, you should always worry about the fact that you need to change it. So a minus and a minus would be a plus 10. Once you have rewritten the question, then you're going to do the inverse operation, which would be subtracting 10, and s is equal to negative 8. More in depth now. Anytime I see a parenthesis in an equation, I can always distribute the number in. Please be careful and make sure you distribute it to both numbers. So the 7 times the 2x and 7 times the 5. Add like terms. Subtracting 40 now, inverse operation. And then dividing by 14. So x would equal 3. Again, this is one of the ones that is most missed on the test. Okay, so make sure you're paying attention here. You need to distribute the negative 2. It's a negative 2, so I need to make sure I distribute both the 2 and the negative sign to both. Then I add like terms on the same side. Now I have a variable on both sides of the equation. This is the first time we've had this. So I'm going to subtract 2m to move it over. Uh-oh, the m is canceled on both sides. So now it's either going to be an infinite or no solution question. Because negative 5 does not equal negative 10, this is a no solution. Depending on your teacher, you can write out no solution or probably give the no solution symbol. Again, we see fractions. Anytime I see a fraction, I can always multiply by the denominator to get rid of the denominator in the fraction. And now inverse operation, I would divide both sides by negative 5, and would be negative 5. Parentheses again, we talked about this earlier. Distribute, so I end up with 6y plus 48 equals 6y minus 21. Very similar to the problem that we did just a little bit ago. I'm going to subtract 6y from both sides. The y is canceled out, so it's either infinite or no solution. Since 48 does not equal negative 21, this would be a no solution question. Writing and solving an equation to find the number and then answer the question. So I have to write out the question and then answer the question. Negative 16 plus the quotient of a number and negative 4. So negative 16 plus. Quotient means division. So a number and negative 4 is negative 3. Now I realize we got the plus and minus sign there, but I'm going to go ahead and add 16 to both sides. So this just becomes an n over negative 4 equals 13. Inverse operation of division is multiplication, so I'm going to multiply both sides by -4, and I'll get -52. Next one. The student on the decorating committee created a banner. The length of the banner is 2.5 times the width. The length of the banner is 20 feet. What is the width of the banner? All right, so I'm going to draw myself a little picture here. I've got a banner. You can get as decorative as you'd like. The length of the banner is 2.5 times the width. So here's the width. This would be 2.5 times the width. You're told that the length of the banner is 20. Okay, so 2.5 W equals 20. Divide by 2.5. W would equal 8. And so again, always use a label anytime you have a word problem. So this would be a width of 8 feet. The student council consists of 32 members. There are 27 members decorating for the dance. How many members are not decorating for the dance? So I have the members that are decorating, or not decorating, plus the members that are decorating, adds up to 32. So inverse operation. And so this is a pretty easy problem to answer, but you must give me an equation and you must give me a solution. Okay? It's not just about the answer on this one. It is about writing the equation out and writing out the solution. Now, this is a word problem, so you're talking about 5 members. Next one. The perimeter of a rectangular patio is 64. The width of the patio is 12 feet, and the length of the patio is x plus 6. Again, wouldn't be a bad idea to draw a picture. So we got a rectangular patio. One side is 12, and the other side is x plus 6. Now, perimeter means distance around. So 12 plus x plus 6 plus 12 plus x plus 6. This would be the distance all the way around. Some of you may double the 12 and double the x plus 6. That's okay too. Equals 64. So you end up getting 2 x's. 12 plus 6 plus 12 plus 6 is 36. Subtract 36 from both sides. So 2x is equal to 28. Divide by 2. I get x to equal 14. Now, be careful. Come back over here. The length of the patio is not 14. Remember, x plus 6 is the length. So the actual length of the patio is 20 feet. Be careful there. Just because you found x to be 14 doesn't mean that's the actual length of the patio. All right? Any questions there? Beautiful. Solve the following absolute value equations. Check your solution. All right, absolute value. Anytime you see an absolute value problem, you ought to automatically think 2 solutions. One for the positive. So n plus 4 equals positive 1. And that's the one that almost everybody gets right. However, it's the other one, the second equation, that some people forget to do. Absolute value questions can be both positive and negative. So I subtract, I get n to be -3. Subtract 4, I get n to equal -5. Now, let's talk about checking our solution, just to make sure that we understand this. Plug -3 back in. The absolute value of -3 plus 4 equals 1. Is this true? Is the absolute value of 1 equal to 1? Yes. Now, here's the side that some of you are going to struggle on. -5 plus 4 equals 1. I get the absolute value of -1. Is that true? And again, the answer is yes. So we have checked both solutions there. Always isolate the absolute value first. Some of you are going to look at that -48 and say there's no solution. That's not true. I can divide both sides by -8 first. And now I can do my 2 equations. -6n equals +6. -6n equals -6. I solve both of those. I get n to equal -1. and n to equal positive 1. When you put those back in, it does work for both of those, and so the answer works. Again, absolute value question. I have z minus 4 equaling positive z plus 6. Z minus 4 equals negative z plus 6. Notice that in the second one, I put parentheses with the negative sign out in front. I know some of my students like to distribute the negative as they do it. Just make sure that you are putting the negative to both terms. So now, solving, I'm going to subtract z from both sides. Z's cancel. Ultimately, what that means is this one doesn't work. Add z to both sides. 2z minus 4 equals negative 6. Add 4. And divide by 2. Z is equal to negative 1. Now, let's test that one. Let's see if it actually works when I do this. So I'm going to plug negative 1 back in. Negative 1 minus 4. So negative 1 minus 4. The left-hand side is negative 5, and the absolute value is 5. Let's try the right-hand side now. Negative 1 plus 6. To get 5, and the absolute value, which is 5. That works. Literal equations. Literal equations basically means I am solving for a particular variable in the equation, but I'm not solving it in the sense that x equals 5 or x equals negative 3, something like that. I'm solving it and I'm keeping the rest of the equation. So I'm subtracting 4x from both sides so that y is equal to negative 4x plus 11. Next one, I'm subtracting 4x from both sides. So I get negative 4x and a positive 10. Then I'm going to divide everything by negative 2 so that y equals positive 2x minus 5. So there's the literal equation. Solving for a variable and keeping the rest of the equation is different than just solving an equation that has one variable. Solve the formula for h. V is equal to 1/3 AH. I want to get rid of the fraction, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. 3V equals AH. Then I'm going to divide by A. This will get H by itself with everything on the other side. I equals PRT. All right, let's talk a little bit about what each of those letters stand for. Okay, I is the interest earned, so the money that you make. P is the principal amount, meaning how much you put in or how much you deposit. R is the rate, and T is the time in years. So now let's read the question. You deposit $10,000 in the bank. That is your P. An account that earns simple interest. After 5 years, that's your T. And it says the amount you earn is $4,500. All right. I like to break this down into 2 steps. Some people would divide by both values. Some people would multiply these two together. Doesn't make any difference as far as that's concerned. So if you did this, that's okay. So 10,000 times 5 is 50,000. And now on your calculator, you're going to divide both sides by 50,000. So 4,500 divided by 50,000, and you get 0.09. Now, every word problem deserves a label. Since we're talking about rate, you're talking about a percent. So you're talking about a 9% rate in order to have $10,000 in the bank and earn $4,500 in interest. How much money must you deposit in simple interest account to earn $1,000? So there's your I. You're going to earn $1,000. P is we don't know. 3%. You'll be shocked at how many people will not put 3% as 0.03. It is 2 decimal places there. So now I multiply 0.03 times 7 and get 0.21. Divide both sides by 0.21. So I take 1,000 divided by 0.21, and I get $4,761.90. Again, everything deserves a label. We're talking about money. So we got $4,761.90 with a dollar sign in front. And that's the end of our Algebra 1 review. If you have questions, please make sure that you talk to your teacher, and they'll be more than happy to help you out.